How to get high scores in sociology? Getting high scores in sociology. There is a pattern to getting high scores in any optional. Sociology is not an exception. Though each optional has its own set of problems and challenges. Number one, syllabus. Be very, very clear about the syllabus. That is the first thing. Second, combine paper 1 and paper 2. Don't look at them separately. P1 is useful in P2, P2 is useful in P1. And how do you combine them? Topic wise. Stratification is caste and class with India as an example. Education is there in paper 1, but Indian education is important. So many aspects are theoretically mentioned in paper 1, and those aspects are sought to be studied in the context of India, and they are given in paper 2. So you can use the theory of paper 1 in paper 2 and example of paper 2 in paper 1. So that's why it is important to divide the syllabus into topic wise. In this way, you will get proper interlinkages. You are studying few topics and syllabus will look limited. Okay, and you will find it easy to link paper 2 with paper 1 and paper 1 with paper 2. Okay. So this is the second thing. And third thing is previous year questions. Previous year questions. Here you need to know that previous year questions of sociology are somewhat different. Previous questions consist of static, dynamic. By somewhat different, I mean across optionals, there can be difference between static element and dynamic element. Static element is there in a textbook. Often you have good literature. Good literature. If you are good at understanding, you can be good at understanding static part. This can also be called mostly theory. Static part. More conceptual, universalizable. That's what sociology. Okay, theoretical. You have thinkers. Okay. Next, dynamic part. Okay. In the dynamic part, most of the dynamic part is Indian. Okay. We can't equate static with outside world and dynamic India, because there is a static with India and dynamic with outside world. But largely, dynamic is Indian context. The challenge in sociology is like this. You come across many questions where the issues raised are not found in the books called sociology books. Okay. You may have read them in newspapers, magazines. You may not have thought that they would come under sociology. But that is what sociology is. It is dynamic. Okay. So, what I would say is that analyzing previous questions is important. And what it does is that there are many questions which are repetitive. So, you can identify certain fixed number of questions. To these questions, you have to develop answers. But the twist here is, though some of the questions, many questions are repetitive, and you can identify certain set of questions, and where you can prepare good answers, there is a dynamic part which you cannot guess from previous year questions. So, it is here, what you should do is, as you are preparing for GS, since you had anyway prepared for GS, identify important issues and study them in depth. This is to prepare for sociology. And of course, if you study them for sociology, it will help in GS. If you study in depth while doing GS, it will help sociology. Both. The link is that GS, even if you don't study in depth, gives certain facts, gives certain news, whereas sociology gives analysis, theories, concepts. So from sociology textbook, you get a perspective, theories, and certain definitions of concepts. But what is happening now is stated somewhere else in general studies. So you should link these two. With the help of sociological theory, look at current event, and to write a good sociology question, you get the basic data on current events from newspapers and magazines or your general studies resources. So, previous year questions help, but there is a dynamic component in the questions. So that dynamic component you can't get directly from the previous. You have to pay attention to what is going on now, what is general studies, what we are studying in general studies, and give some depth, then it becomes sociology. If you ask me, insightful reading of general studies is sociology. And the source that supplies many facts on contemporary world to sociology is general studies. So this is how sociology and general studies are very closely interlinked when it comes to the dynamic part of sociology. The current trend in getting top scores is to follow a formula that I am calling PDF. We use the word PDF but in a different context. But this PDF helps in getting high scores. P stands for previous year questions. This point we discussed. D stands for diagrams. Very, 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 very important. Very important. There are variety ways of drawing diagrams. So please watch 3 of my videos where I explain IAS answers in terms of examples, diagrams and facts. In the second video on diagrams, I explain variety of diagrams. Diagram is an extremely powerful way of communicating. Sociology has not done enough. Sociology students have not done enough in excelling in diagrams. But if you want to do well, do this. And third, facts. Facts seem to be playing a very, very important role. So whatever you are reading, identify the factual component and make notes. Books, authors, quotations, sources, case studies. Okay. Of course, to this I add examples also. So, facts play a very important role, diagrams and previous questions. Okay. So, this is how you should prepare. And one more thing is, there are certain areas in any optional, and if you are good at them, that helps across answers. A1, A2, A3. Across answers, certain things help. In sociology, this is sociological thought, methods. This is sociology. This is one very important source that helps you write better answers across various topics. To this I would add critical understanding of economy. I think helps across areas. Because many things that sociology discusses are analyzed critically as well as providing facts in what we call economy. So, I would advise you to read more of economy critically, okay, and then thought here. Here it can be Indian thought also, Indian plus Western. So if there are certain areas which are common sources that help across answers, it means you have to spend more time on them. Okay, so this is how you should prepare. As of now, 320 is supposed to be a top score in sociology, whereas in anthropology it is coming out to be 350. So there is a 30 marks gap between anthropology and sociology, and I would say the difference is because of PDF strategy. Anthro students are using PDF, whereas social students are not doing much. So I want you to implement PDF and move towards Anthro scores. Thank you.